An instruction meeting on Monday, September 22nd, 2025. And thank you to everyone who is here. Mr. James did tell me that he would be unable to attend today, so we appreciate that. First, we need a review and approval of the agenda.
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. And then all in favor say aye.
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 Y'all correct me if I do something wrong. Review and approval of the minutes from August 25th, 2025.
Make a motion to approve the minutes from August 25th, 2025.
I have a question on it before we
Yes,
do a
ma'am.
second. When I read back through the minutes, there was a discussion about a calendar of how the curriculum was supposed to be meeting going forward, that you and Lee James and another group met with. Did we get that last time, and was it attached to the minutes?
Mr. James, could you please address that for us?
Yes, ma'am, I'd be happy to. We do have a work plan for the year for the
Right.
curriculum committee. If it was not attached, I'll certainly provide it to you.
Okay. And it would be attached to the minutes as well, right?
Yes, you're
Okay.
right, they would be.
Okay, second.
Thank
Thank
you
you.
so much. Thanks for recognizing that. I appreciate it. All right, thank you, Mr. James. So we're going to start out with Ms. Kelly Brown. No.
All in favor?
Thank you. All in favor, say aye.
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 Aye. All right.
Thank you. Ms. Edmonds, board members, Mr. Jones, I want to thank you again for another opportunity to come before you and share some of the updates from Learning Services and the Curriculum and Instruction Committee. This afternoon, you have a unique opportunity. You're going to hear from 5 different leaders in the department. You're going to hear from Ms. Kelly Brown, the Director of Professional Development and Standards. She's going to talk to you about the implementation, the steps that we've taken to implement new math standards and some of the instructional shifts that you'll see in the classrooms this year. You're going to hear from Ms. Shelley Todd, the district's data analyst. She's going to come before you and present a new resource that has a lot of the detailed information that's contained on the state's assessment website in a more user-friendly format. It's something we're going to make available for you and for the public who want to know about our students' performance on summative assessments from last year. You're also going to hear from the grade level executive directors. Well, you'll hear from 3 of the 4 of them. You'll hear from Ms. Scott, Ms. Lane, and Ms. Coy. They're going to talk to you about data in a bit of a different way. We're going to talk to you tonight about how we analyze the data, look for opportunities for growth, and then they're going to share some strategies that we're going to implement to improve those scores. And then finally, Ms. Brown will come back up and give us a summary of our August professional development. Before we get into that, though, I do have a video for you. In this video, you'll hear from 2 of our elementary schools. You'll hear from Palmetto Bays Elementary and Riverside Elementary, and you will hear from students, from teachers, and from school leaders discuss how they use the walls in their classrooms to teach by using sound walls.
This sound. What sound did we hear? So if we have to remember that word, we want to think about where can we place that word on our sound wall, okay?
Sound walls are great for teachers and for students. So first of all, a little context, what we used to do was we had word walls, and whatever word the students were learning went under the first letter of the words.
Word wall is very teacher driven. It's in alphabetical order. A sound wall is really more student centered. It focuses more on the sound that we hear in a word, and it's organized based off of phonemes or sounds, and then the words are placed there. Even if they don't know the letter or the spelling, they can make the sound, they can identify the sounds in spoken words. When you think about how we even learn to speak all the way back into infancy, it's because we heard it first. They can say a word, they can say cheetah, and they hear that sound, ch, ch, and they can identify and look up on their sound wall and see that sound, and then these are my possible spellings.
Having the sound spellings up on the wall with the sound wall, it makes more sense for students and goes along explicitly with what we're learning in structured literacy and through letters and the science of reading is that we really need to focus on those different sounds more so than like we did in the past with a word wall where it was just what's the first letter in the word, and that's where we're going to put it.
This is the B sound card, and the thing like this right here, that means it has a vibration. And then right, the stop thing, it means it's like there's nothing after it. And on that it's the sound, and it has a picture to show us a visual. And the mouth will show you how like to shape your mouth or like how to have your mouth when you're pronouncing that letter.
So this is the end card, and it shows you a picture of the mouth, so you can know that that's what you need to do when you pronounce the letter. It helps me like if I need to know like how to pronounce it, so I can know how to spell it.
I love it because it helps us learn all the sounds if we don't know them. We use the wall during structured literacy because every week there's either 1 or 2 words of the week. We put in the ones for last week on the sound wall.
Part of the engagement I see is that the students are already turning to look at it when we are talking about spellings, when we're in writing and they're writing their own sentence or their own story and they need to think about how to spell a word. We've worked on breaking up the phonemes in that word. So instead of them going straight to, I don't know how to spell this, spell it for me, I try to remind them, break up the sounds, break up the phonemes, and now you know this phoneme, you know this sound. If you don't know how to spell it, find it on the wall. So there's already engagement, but I really think that as we add to it, there's going to be a lot more because they're going to have ownership of it. They know why we put those words where we put them on the sound wall.
We started as a school about 6 months before everybody, but we've done more than do the lessons and listen to the videos. We've brought it to PLCs.
So I meet weekly with my other interventionists that I work with during our PLCs or professional learning communities, and I also help out with our coaches when they do their PLCs with their different grade levels, and we reconstruct the consonant charts and the vowel on the floor, and like they have to put the cards in the right spot. And just having conversations about how when we're analyzing their writing, you know, if they're trying to write the word this and they write VIS, this, how can we correct that? It's sticking our tongue between our teeth instead of on our bottom lip. And just practicing those kind of conversations and analyzing their writing and reading errors. At first, our teachers were very hesitant, and they're like, oh my gosh, I didn't learn this way, and they're like, but over the years, they're like more confident, more willing to like try new things, and they're taking it on and using it every day in their classroom.
Part of our philosophy, which came from our letters training, is informed teachers are our best assurance against reading failure. We have got to teach our teachers how to teach reading. It's not a curriculum, it's not anything else, it's the teachers that teach reading. The Rise with Reading initiative is helping us make lifelong lasting connections. If you look at our data from our meets and exceeds for SC Ready, in 2018-19, we were at 50% meets or exceeds. Slow and steady, slow and steady, slow and steady, and last year we finished at 65% meets or exceeds. So it's making a difference over the long haul, which is what you want, because you want them to retain it and you want them to remember it. And you're creating lifelong readers. And they deserve that. Everybody deserves the chance to read.
Thank you, Mr. James. That was awesome.
Thank you. I just want to give a big thank you to the teachers, to the principals, and to the students who stepped up and were able to share a little bit with you about our reading programs in our elementary schools. Although they discussed the sound walls and sound cards at 2 particular elementary schools, it's important to note that we have these walls in every kindergarten through 3rd grade classroom across our district.
Miss Paulson is very good enunciator. Even when she talks, she was talking very clear. So I'm sure that as she's teaching all those things and they're learning it, that's exciting.
It
That's
is
very
exciting to hear directly from the students the impact that this instruction is having. Absolutely. Thank you.
Nice.
And now, if it's okay, I'll turn it over to Ms. Brown, who will discuss the new math curriculum or new math standards with you.
Good afternoon. Thank you for allowing me to come and talk with you this afternoon. So in terms of the new math standards and rollout, we actually began this work last year. You know, we rolled out the new ELA standards, K-12, and so we had a big job of navigating that, in addition to planning ahead and making sure that our teachers, our instructional coaches, and school leadership teams felt comfortable with the new math standards, because there's been a big shift and change. The new math standards are actually vertically aligned. They build on one another as they go up the ladder, and they're designed that each indicator is, it builds, and you'll see that as we progress through, and you'll hear more about the new math standards. In addition, we made sure that we planned for vertical work, K through 12, to have those collaborative discussions, you know, with our instructional coaches, with the teachers. We rolled these out, of course, by attending State Department meetings, attending the state webinars for the new math standards, making sure that we trained our instructional coaches and our principals through PLCs at the school level. We even had our elementary learning specialists model this along with a few consultants in the elementary classroom last April. And then, of course, we have aligned our curriculum to the new math standards all throughout the summer and provided August PD as well. And
Kelly, could I interrupt you for 1
Sure.
second? Could you tell everyone what PLC means?
Yes, professional learning community. Yes.
At each school,
At each school. And we calculated over 100 plus professional development opportunities for training with the new rollout of the math standards.
Very good.
And I also want to add, you'll see it as a bullet point there, that the State Department did a phenomenal job in making sure they provided us with crosswalk documents and an integration of the 8th grade math standards with geometry. That way, we were able to narrow down any type of instructional shifts or potential learning gaps that there might be. And if you'll notice that our new math standards are actually divided into 4 strands. And if you notice, each one of them contains the word reasoning. And there's a reason for that, because the new math standards are vertically aligned K-12, but also they have a balance of the conceptual and procedural knowledge. So that's very important to know. And this is just a snapshot of the new high school course sequence. I know that when all of us were in school, Algebra 1 was typically the first 9th grade class. With the rollout of the new math standards and the new math course sequence in high school, it's geometry with statistics as the 9th grade course, and then it progresses up the ladder. And of course, our learning specialists met with curriculum teams this summer to make sure that they wrote curriculum and aligned it to the state standards to make sure that our high school folks would roll this out successfully this year.
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
Is this saying that every 9th grade student has to have geometry? Was I reading that correctly?
If they are not taking the accelerated path in middle school, then if they're going, the college prep track or an honors track, scratch that. The college prep track, geometry with statistics is the first 9th grade course.
Okay, so if I'm not on the college prep track,
Let's say that
I'm in 9th grade.
You're in 9th grade, so college prep could mean college and career ready.
Okay.
Yes.
So college and
geometry with
career ready is
statistics.
still geometry and statistics?
Yes, ma'am. And then they would take Algebra 1 as their second math class.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
That's intense.
It is, but they have reworked the standards so that it does have algebra built into it as well.
Thank you.
Yes,
So let me
ma'am.
just comment on this as an
Sure.
outsider, now an insider. I've got lots of questions about this pathway. I'm not familiar with any other state besides South Carolina that has this progression. I have not been convinced as your superintendent. I am learning. I have questions. The academics department is coming alongside with me to better understand. But I will tell you, board, that please stay tuned because there might be a scenario where I need to come back to you and tell you what I've learned. Because I am on a journey of curiosity, why we're the only state that I can find that is teaching ninth graders geometry. So, and stats, correct, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you. And now to Ms. Shelley Todd for our data.
I have a question.
Sure.
So with the change and in the implementation, is this so that the goal for the standards is that students will have more real-life experience and reasoning skills?
Yes, and so I meant to say in the earlier slide, in terms of the mathematical shifts in practice, when you go visit classrooms, K through 12, you will notice that there are more real-life scenarios and a productive struggle, really, almost like an exploration period when new material is introduced. And so kids will have more of a hands-on experience with manipulatives and collaboration as they're working through the mathematical processes.
Okay, I was thinking that because I know the state had input from business owners and people from the community in doing this, if I'm correct. Is that right?
Yes, ma'am. You are correct.
Thank you.
Yes, you're welcome.
Any other questions? Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Good afternoon. Mr. Washburn wasn't able to be here today, so I work with him in his department, and I'm looking forward to sharing some celebrations with you from our State Department level. So the state provides data that is public viewable, but sometimes it's hard to see or hard to gather or get to. So we wanted to make sure we gave you a resource that gives it to you all in one place. And so the part that we'd like you to see, which will be placed on our district website as well as shared with you, allows you to look at everything in one idea for what our kids look like for SC Ready, as well as our end of course test and our students for their CCR test, the WIN test. So the first part is going to give you a little bit about how our grade levels did, and then as you scroll through, there's lots to see with some graphs to give you visualizations of what that looks like in comparison to others. There's also a subgroup information. So we look at our gifted and talented as those identified by the state of South Carolina, not those necessarily sitting in a GT class or in an honors or AP class. So these are state identified students. And then it moves on to students in poverty, our LEP students, our disabled students, and then we finish up the subgroup there. But to give you some schema for how our schools compare to each other per grade level, instead of you having again click through all the State Department website links, it gives it to you here in one swell. There's one per grade level in 4th, 5th, and 6th. Goes up to 7th and 8th as well. And then we do like to look at how Horry County looks compared to districts like us. Berkeley has similar demographics that we have, whereas Charleston and Greenville have the similar population that we have. And we are proud to say that all those little light green boxes show that we do extremely well compared to our peers, but then also we have some celebrations in other areas per grade level. So there's an ELA and math in regards to that. So that's all SC Ready, 3 through 8. And then we give you a comparison for how Horry County does in regards to the state. And again, we exceed the state in all of our areas and are super proud of that. Moving on to high school, we give the end of course exams to algebra, biology, English, and U.S. history. So this gives you an idea of how we look in regards to the passage rate, which is a D or higher, but also the C or better, and then how that compares in each of the areas that from the past 3 years. We also wanted you to be able to see how it falls out with the A through through F, what they may score on it, and then how that compares from the past, and not even be able to see what those numbers say. You can see a trend line that obviously goes up each time in algebra, holding a little bit steady in biology, and then of course English is definitely something to showcase as well. We do give Algebra 1 in middle school, or we did, versus what Ms. Brown just shared with you. So we did give you that information in regards to how the different middle schools perform in the areas of how they scored A to F. And then again, it drills it down how it looks like in all the other subject areas. We again pulled our subgroup information for poverty for how we compare to other districts in each of those areas as well. And then our students also in high school take the WIN test, and so we wanted to give you an idea of how they are performing in regards to being college and career ready, and it will showcase all that information there for you by school as well as in regards to the other districts.
Yeah, one second. Thank you for all of that information. That's definitely good study hours, you know, and it definitely breaks it out exactly as other board members have requested previously to see it not only by school, but demographics and how we rank against school systems that are similar in size and demographics. So thank you very much for providing that. Ms. Hodges?
Yes, Mr. Jones. So in looking at how we compare with other counties, other school districts in the state, I think that with the changes in school and with parents having choice in the future, not this year, of course, but in the future, to me, it would be more helpful to look at our district compared with our competition locally, our charter schools, and because we know that someone in Myrtle Beach is not going to drive to Berkeley County, but to see, and I don't know if it's even possible, but to me, in my mind, it just makes more sense because we know that these parents are not going to drive their kids to these districts, but what is around us and what are we competing with and how they are scoring and looking at their subgroups.
Ms. Hodges, I would love to be able to do that. Ms. Todd, help me out here. In South Carolina, do the charters have to take SC Ready?
Some of them do.
Okay.
Some, if they're a public charter school, they could.
Okay. And so not all of the schools that are authorized and within our boundaries have to take the same test we do?
Correct.
Okay. It's really interesting that public funds go to schools, and to your point, Ms. Hodges, some of our parents make decisions not having the same metrics of comparison, even though public funds are going to them. And so I point that out to you all because I think Ms. Hodges is correct. I think parents would like very much to see the same test so they could compare and be informed, at least on an academic achievement side, what's going on. Unfortunately, those aren't the rules for everyone.
Well, and maybe that would be something that we could point out to
Be happy
the
to.
powers that be so that we can see if we're losing students. I definitely want to see like what the competition is locally and how they're comparing. And like you said, if I was a parent there, I would also want to see how my child was performing on a comparable test.
That's right.
It's a good point. Thank you. Anybody else? Ms. Graham?
Thank you. When I looked through the data, I did see that the English language arts, we were performing very well over the years and continue to go up in most groups. The subgroups are struggling a bit. In the area of math, we seem to be sliding some from previous years, and I'm very concerned about that, especially in the demographic subgroups, because it seems to be getting worse. So it is my hope that the new math initiative would be able to pick that up and move it forward and move these groups up, because when the water rises, you know, the ship rises, everybody rises. So, you know, I don't know if there's a question in there, it's just a statement of what I see in the numbers.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, sir. Then Ms. Payne.
Mr. Jones, this data is extraordinarily helpful. Following up on what Janet has said, I think it would be worthwhile to take another deeper dive on the students in the does not meet category and break them down into demographics. Probably those 10% or higher, so we have some idea. Do we have a problem that's based on demographics? Is it based on poverty? Is it based on multilingual or our handicap challenged kids? It may vary by school, and it'd be interesting to look at those numbers. And you certainly have that data. If you could share that with us, I'd appreciate it.
Certainly, I really want to lift up the data team. They had a quick turnaround. The board asked them for some different charts, and I know I've pushed them a little bit with some looks and feels of how we're presenting today. And I will tell you, if we are looking at the data to make decisions, we're winning on behalf of kids. So we will definitely look at that.
Hey, Ms. Pam.
Thank you, Chairman Edmonds. I too wanted to commend the data team. Mining this data and presenting it in such a way so that not only we as board members but the public can easily understand is of the utmost importance. I do not disagree with Ms. Hodges. I do think it would be so helpful to be able to compare to what we might perceive to be competitors. But more importantly, in my opinion, continuing to compare ourselves to similarly sized districts is useful because we have similar resources. We have similar populations, similar resources, and I think it helps us put things in perspective. So even though Charleston has a completely different tax base, in as much as they have about 50% more businesses than Horry County does, their population is slightly higher, their demographic makeup is slightly more affluent and different, we still do very well against Charleston. Same thing with Greenville. Greenville has certain sections that are extremely affluent, and those schools, particularly in the Fort Mill area, do extremely well. So I think there is value in continuing to compare us to similarly sized districts, and I hope we will continue to do so. Thank you.
Thank you. Does anyone else, Ms. Hodges?
I don't know if anyone watched the last state meeting, but it was really phenomenal, and it tied together all of the questions and the pieces of various puzzles, and you could see throughout the state how other areas within our state have been successful, and I really did appreciate that because I could see the trickling down, and I know that there is within breaking down the demographics, the subgroups, that the state has a plan for Title I. I don't know if there are any specific programs that they are discussing as far as beyond Title I or not, but you know, based on the science of reading and everything else that has come down from the state level, it has been very effective in all areas, and so I think that's a great plan because we're all on the same page, and I feel like this might be the first time.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And thank you for all the hard work, and please pass that on to Mr. Washburn and the rest of the team as well.
I sure will. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good afternoon. It is my pleasure to share our two main areas of focus for the elementary level based on analysis of data. So our first area is math for 5th grade and increasing our met and exceeds percentages. Our strategies that we're using to do that, as you heard from Kelly Brown, are to work on professional development. We've been doing that since mid-year last year. As Kelly shared, we have 100 hours of PD with our new math standards and also our new math curriculum. So when our school teams and our lead teachers left for summer, they had already received training on SAVIS, our new math curriculum, as well as standards to be prepared for the year. We also have school priority plans that Mr. Lapierre and I are working on with schools, and we've asked our elementary schools to have a math goal as well as a literacy goal and one other. And as we meet with our school teams each month, we are touching base on our math goals as well as the other ones, and fifth grade will be a focus of that. Additionally, one of our greatest strategies to improve student achievement and make sure that kids are growing is targeted instruction. So our guaranteed small group instruction is a key focus to make sure that all of our students are growing in math, but particularly our fifth grade students. We also are participating for the first year in OGAP training, which was shared with us by the State Department. It was described to me as letters for math. So it really breaks down mathematics in a way that makes sense to teachers and the thinking behind how we teach math. We have 3 schools that we're piloting this year. They are Waccamaw, Homewood, and PD Elementary School, and several factors played into that decision. Data was a main factor, and our 4th and 5th grade teachers at those schools, as well as the leadership team, have already started to participate in that training, and it's set up that they receive the training right before they teach the unit. And so we plan to expand that beyond this year. You're going to hear more about that from Ms. Lane, because we also have some middle schools participating in that training. And then, of course, at the elementary level, third grade retention is a major focus. So again, in the video at the beginning of the meeting, you heard about sound walls and the work that we're doing there. Of course, we have our sound walls up, but we want to make sure that they're used for instruction. So the professional development, coaching, and support are areas that we're focusing on to ensure that teachers are using those sound walls with students, and we feel like that will support our students who are at risk for retention. Additionally, small group instruction is a key strategy. We ensure that we have small group instruction every day and that we're really looking at our data on a weekly, monthly basis to target needs to make sure that our students who are at risk for retention are growing. We, of course, are still implementing letters. So year 2 of letters is growing us in the areas of vocabulary, comprehension, and writing. And we feel like that will also support our students who are at risk for retention, as well as continuing to implement and use our strategies from our year 1 training in the foundational skills. So those are our 2 areas of focus, 5th grade math and 3rd grade retention at the elementary level based on our data.
Ms. Coy, thank you so much. And also, I believe, if I remember correctly, you all are spending a lot of time out in the schools. Could you talk about that for a minute? And I appreciate that greatly.
Yeah, we've really enjoyed it. So we have a structure this year, and we've shared that with principals, and schools know what to expect, where we are out in schools monthly for 2 different types of visits, and sometimes other things in addition to that. But we're there for a check-in visit, which is about an hour, and then also an extended visit, which is 3 hours. And we have protocols that go along with that, but basically it's about support. So coming in alongside of our school team and looking at where are we with your school priority plan, what's working, what challenges are you having, how can we help, and then also visiting classrooms. So, and that's at all 3 levels. We're consistent with that.
That's wonderful. Are there any questions?
I have a
Ms.
question.
Hodges?
And what are the state initiatives that are driving math?
So we have the standards
Well,
work.
besides the standards, like what are they implementing, or resources that they have?
OGAP has been a big focus from the state. That's where we learned about it. In terms of like our standards work, they are providing trainings, ongoing trainings by region that we can participate in, and we have people that participate in those and then bring that back to our teachers. And then the OGAP training that I'm aware of.
And is there a Palmetto math program?
There is a Palmetto, like we had Palmetto Literacy, there is now Palmetto Math, and those are schools that are identified by the State Department that receive extra coaching and support.
Do we have any of those schools?
Have we received that yet? I don't think we've received that list yet.
Okay.
We have a meeting on Thursday, so maybe that's coming.
Okay. Thank you.
Anybody else have questions? Ms. Dawson?
Quick question. Let's go back to OGAP training, and you identified 3 schools where the training's going to begin. Could you just touch on which data points were considered when identifying those schools and why we chose them?
Sure. We looked at a couple different factors, but in terms of data, we looked at schools that were not performing as high, right? So when you look, Shelley pulled that data for us in the spring, and we looked at where those schools were performing to focus in those areas.
So your decision on where to begin the training was based upon needs?
Correct. Yes.
Thank you.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Anybody else have a question? So also, I do want to say, Ms. Coy, that you look fabulous. You look rested, and you have help with Mr. Lapierre
I really
now.
appreciate the help. I'm really
Yes,
enjoying
I
working
know, that
with
was
Mr.
a lot,
Lapierre.
so I'm glad
So
you
thank
have
you.
a partner to divide all this with now.
Me
so
too.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. I'm going to hand it over to Ms. Lane to discuss middle school.
All right, we have in middle school an ELA focus overall. Our SC Ready data said that we had a drop by 2 points in our 6th grade ELA. But I want you to understand that those are now our 7th grade students. So the intervention, yes, we're going to focus on 6th grade, but we are doing a lot of specific instruction in 7th grade because they are the children that had the 2-point decrease. So when I talk about ELA in 6th grade, yes, 6th grade is a focus, but it's also the children who are now sitting in 7th grade. And some of those things that we're doing, you've heard, explicit vocabulary instruction. I cannot stress the importance of that. Our formative data using iReady showed us that last year. Our SC Ready data this year is showing us the same thing. And our fall formative data is aligned perfectly with that. So I feel very confident and comfortable in the strategies that we're working on in English language arts with vocabulary and writing, because they can't function without doing the two together because of the cognitive skills that are required. As students matriculate up into middle school, the text complexity gets more intense and the expectations get higher. So if students come to us with gaps, that makes it a little bit more challenging and difficult. And without words and without word meaning, it's very difficult to understand and comprehend what you read. So as you visit schools, I want you to focus on those things, and you are going to see vocabulary instruction at a much higher level than we've had in middle school. As part of the priority plans, I'm on my 2nd round of visits for the month of September, and I am seeing it everywhere. Interventions, every single classroom. We've got morphemes in a lot of our science classrooms. I mean, it is just, I'm just very pleased with how the teachers have embraced this and the work that they're doing. In intervention, we are trying to not do a different program. We're trying to identify those 3 to 5 words that they're doing in their contents, and then if they are receiving intervention services, we're going deeper with those words, not giving them a whole set of new words. We're going deeper with additional practice in our intervention. We also are focusing this year on oral reading fluency, and we're just in the infancy stages of that. But we also know that without the oral reading fluency and the vocabulary meaning, the comprehension is going to be difficult for our students. So we are starting to investigate the oral reading fluency in our intervention classes as well. And then we have the 4 schools we spoke about last Wednesday on our schools who are receiving letters training for our special education teachers and our reading interventionist. Math is a need and a focus that we have. But I'm not going to tell you that it's not been that way, and I told you this since my time here in Horry County Schools. But it's important to me. As a building principal, that was my focus. And I went from being last in the district as a principal to 5th. So we know what to do. We've just got to put the structures in place. And we have had some intense professional development on high-intensity strategies for cognitive processing of learning how to do math. And it is paying off. We had 2 full days of professional development with what we call interleading practice format, student work solution strategy, and that was on September 4th and 5th. I've seen it in 4 schools in the last week and a half.
Nice.
So it was something that we did PD on, teachers understood it, took it right back in their classroom, and kids are seeing the payoff with student outcomes. In addition, we're bringing OGAP up. So our elementary team has identified 3 schools. We've identified 4 schools. And OGAP is ongoing formative assessment. And there are 2 modules that we're going to be focused on in middle school this year. One of those is proportional reasoning. If you go back to the standards, that reasoning component went through all 4 of those strands. So we're doing proportional reasoning in the first semester with our 6th grade teachers. And then we're doing fractional reasoning in the spring to get them ready for next year. And we want this to be a phased in where we'll get our 7th grade teachers trained and our 8th grade teachers trained. So this is going to be a multi-year process for us in mathematics. And the 4 schools that we have participating in OGAP training are Aner Middle School, Blackwater Middle School, Forest Brook Middle School, and Myrtle Beach Middle School. And again, those schools were selected based on their data performances. And we want to look at that and see how maybe we've had a lot of good feedback on that. We had our first 2 days of training last week with those schools. So we are very excited about what you're going to see in middle school math, because we're really focusing on the strategies of what I would call blocked practice versus interleaving practice, and helping children understand how to retrieve information and pull it back to the front after specific strategies of practice. So that's where we are in middle school. I'll be glad to answer any questions that you have.
Does anybody have any questions? Ms. Hodges?
So in middle school, we visited Myrtle Beach Middle School, and I was beyond impressed with everything that was happening within the walls there. AVID especially, how is AVID program? I can see that, having been a former English teacher, the major significance of the note-taking and the graphic organizers that they use for that. But how is AVID being used in math? Is it being used like for note-taking? I just loved the consistency of everything in the organization. To see middle school students have a notebook which is organized is beyond amazing.
We have 3 middle schools that are AVID-focused schools. And those 3 middle schools are by choice of the principal and the staff members. And those are at Myrtle Beach Middle School, Loris Middle School, they're in their first year of implementation, and Whittemore Park Middle School, and they're in their 2nd. And part of the AVID structure is one of the strategies that you can choose to work on is focused note-taking. So that is something that each one of those schools have chosen, because once again, that even supports our literacy efforts in helping children determine importance and take notes. But that is not widespread across Horry County schools. They also have that AVID elective class, which
So
really
I guess my
teaches.
question was, do they use any of those skills outside of the organization, but specifically in math in the middle schools?
I wouldn't say, so with AVID, it's called WICR, Writing, Inquiry, Collaboration, Reading, and Organization. So those are the strategies. I think those are strategies that are universal and not specific to math versus some of the strategies in PD that we've done recently with that interleaving practice versus blocked practice, and when you are first learning math material and then how to retrieve it once you've learned it and keeping that. So I guess my answer to you, Ms. Hodges, is no, there's not specific math strategies that we see within AVID.
Okay, I saw them and doing questioning of their peers, and it seemed very helpful for the students.
And they were also doing the vocabulary in the math classes.
Yes.
And so that was really cool to make it all tie in together to your point, as everything builds on each other, the retention of the information and then being able to retrieve it, as you said, utilize it, solve a problem. And I love, who said about the problem solving and the more collaborating and using tools to understand math. Like you literally can put your hands on blocks and cubes and little discs and whatever to like figure this out. A struggle. It was called a something struggle.
Productive
Kelly?
struggle.
There you go. Yeah, that's fabulous because it forces you not only to work with other people, but it also helps you to figure it out and you retain it, right?
Right.
The more you figure it out and you're hands-on working it out, you retain what that is. So.
Retention and retrieval is critical for math because math is a curriculum that does not wait for people. It builds one thing right after another, after another, after another. It's a very difficult content because it doesn't wait. If a student has gaps, it's not going to wait for them to catch up. And part of our work also with math that I've just spoken with learning specialists about is incorporating fluency in math and really trying to get our parents on board with that. So when a parent asks, how can I help my kid? I want you to go buy some flashcards of addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division. And I want you to do that with your children every single night because that retention,
right.
If they have that with their fluency, then when they're getting ready to solve that one-step equation, they can pull up those skills and retrieve. So we're focused on that retention, retrieval of how to learn math. That's a major focus.
Mr. Bernard.
The Ocean Bay area elementary schools, while they do their data indicates they're doing great, but the Ocean Bay Middle School is knocking it out of the park. Can you explain that to us?
Well, Mr. Barnard, I can tell you that I'm going to use that same concept. You have two types of learners. We put labels on a lot of things, but in my mind, you have a strategic learner and a non-strategic learner. And the students that we serve in our Ocean Bay community, the majority of those children are strategic learners. They have those retention and retrieval skills. A lot of our children across our district do not have those skills. So when I present exponents to our students, and they have to think about the rules of exponents and trying to learn what that looks like, they just look at it from a procedural perspective. Do step 1, 2, 3, and 4. But then when I see it 3 months down the road, they're like, because I'm not constantly doing that retrieval practice.
Yeah.
Our students that we serve in that particular area, they have those skills. They are already strategic learners when they come to us.
Can we teach that
Yes,
type of learning?
that's what these strategies of what we call IPF, you're going to hear that,
Good.
interleaving, practice, format. You're going to see it when you go on visits.
Great.
Those are strategies. They're high-intent strategies for retention and retrieval.
Well, it appears to me the transition to middle school is tough. And a lot of kids that do extraordinarily well in elementary school, I have a difficult time making that transition. I'm glad to hear we're going to teach them strategic learning. That will certainly help them. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Thank you for your presentation.
Anyone else? All right, thank you so much. Very nice, very good.
Good afternoon. I'm proud to represent the high school team. Two key areas of focus for us will be biology and U.S. history end-of-course test. Both of these courses are packed with content-heavy factual knowledge requiring mastery of subject-specific vocabulary and discipline-specific reading, writing, and thinking skills. Our district team has been actively involved in professional development sessions and meetings led by the South Carolina Department of Education to better understand the requirements of these state standards and the expectations of the end-of-course tests. These sessions have helped us further develop our district plan and support growth in both science and in social studies. And we're pleased to share some strategies today of these two areas that we believe that will be essential in improving our student performance on these two exams. First, biology. Our instructional focus in biology will be implementing evidence-based strategies that deepen student understanding and ensure alignment with the rigor and requirements of the South Carolina standards. Teachers will purposefully integrate academic language and instruction using real-world concepts and lab activities. We'll go beyond rote memorization and explore biological concepts through collaborative hands-on lab experiences. These inquiry-based labs and guided discussions will empower our students to articulate their thinking and prioritize critical thinking and the development of connections within living things. To make student thinking more visible and foster learning, our students will expand the use of writing in science and also utilize tools such as storyline walls, which are visual frameworks that enable students to organize and deepen their thinking over time. Our science instruction will continue to be data-driven, and we will support our biology teachers by analyzing school and classroom-specific data and help guide them with their planning and identify strengths and areas for growth in each school. In addition, our district is committed to ongoing professional development for all of our biology teachers. This training includes small group and individualized coaching sessions for our teachers, as well as opportunities for peer observations in meeting the requirements of the standards and the diverse needs of our students. In U.S. history, we will apply a similar approach to strengthen instruction and support our students in the end-of-course test. All instruction will be aligned to the South Carolina standards, and our key goals will be to focus on content-specific vocabulary and learning to write from the perspective of a historian. This means that our instruction must go beyond memorizing dates and facts and to help our students to think critically, analyze historical sources, and communicate their understanding of historical events and themes. To support our students, we really work closely by looking at primary source documents. These authentic texts give our students a window to the past and help them analyze from a historical perspective using evidence. In addition, we're enhancing our comparing and contrasting of time periods, understanding contextual evidence of historical events, and drawing conclusions based on evidence. As with biology, our U.S. history teachers will be guided by school-specific data provided by our assessment team and target areas needed for tailored instruction for student growth. We'll continue to use professional development, just like we are in biology, to help our teachers in small group sessions, peer observations, and with individual coaching on the South Carolina historical thinking standards. And I'll be happy to answer any questions you may have.
Does anybody have any questions? Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Lots of good stuff going on.
Listen, we're rocking it at the high school.
I love it. I love it.
All right, well, I'm going to ask Ms. Kelly Brown to come back up, and she's going to talk about our August professional development sessions for all our teachers. Thank you so much on behalf of our high school team. All right, so I'm super excited to share that we were able to offer over 655 face-to-face professional development sessions. And the folks who are incredible educators, our learning specialists, program coordinators, ESOL coaches, our teachers who participated in curriculum teams K through 12, and we even had some consultants to help us as well. But over 2 days, August 11th and 12th, we were able to deliver high-quality, strategic staff development. And of course, this is just an overall summation. It was curriculum updates, engagement strategies, specially designed instruction, Magic School AI and how to embed that for teachers and utilize that with our curriculum documents and standards, and then of course instructional technology from our lead tech team members. We provided professional development not only to teachers, but to administrators as well. So we had a very successful go at the August staff development, and we're already planning ahead for February and PD throughout the year.
How does one plan 655 sessions that are face-to-face?
It takes time and it takes a team. That is exactly true.
Well, we have to greatly applaud all of your efforts on pulling that together. And it is important, right, to keep our staff development going and teachers getting the latest, the greatest opportunities to talk to each other and
Absolutely.
to continue to broaden their knowledge and their skill sets. And that's a leg up for everyone. I really love it because the statement from doing that to our teachers is that we care about you. And
Absolutely.
we want you to keep growing, and we want to give you the tools that you need to do your job, and then it's a win-win for the students and everyone. So I think retention is a big part of that too, right? Because the more engaged you are in learning and continuing, and that's being provided to you, that's important. So thank you so much.
Oh, you're
that's
welcome.
a lot.
Well, we thoroughly enjoyed it.
That's wonderful. Does anybody have any questions? Ms. Hodges?
So with all of the planning that you're doing, do you have a lot of AI implementation and staff development in the future? I was at a conference last week, and 8 out of 10 classes for real estate were AI, which was very exciting because that makes my life easier so that I can spend time doing the important things like talking with people. And so I know that AI has got to be such a game changer in the classroom for all of those clerical and tasks that, they're just not really being engaging with the students. So are there a lot of future activities with AI training?
There are. I can even share one. I know I don't want to go over on time because I know you have another meeting, but we implemented one just recently, this past week, with our high school instructional coaches who were learning about letters implementation and how that trickles up the ladder and affects reading comprehension and vocabulary, and how they were using that information along with the standards and looking at tiered vocabulary instruction. So we had one in particular who had already utilized that at one of our local high schools. So we have lots and lots of interest with AI, in addition to our teachers, our school leadership teams, and even folks at the district level. They're very excited about how that can be incorporated into their workflow and creating future documents and understanding things.
And I could even see that being very valuable for parents in helping their students with homework, because I know if I had a child, I would probably need lots of help with math.
Absolutely. We've absolutely utilized that in that way with questioning techniques, sample lesson plans, all the things. So the sky's the limit on that.
That's awesome. Any other questions before? Yes, Ms. Graham?
I just want to give you kudos because I was at the National COSBA Conference the 1st of September. And of course, AI was a subject of discussion. Not all school districts across the nation embrace AI. I was able to tell them that our district fully embraces AI, and we're using it for, various administrative type things, but we're trendsetters. So thank you.
Yes, we are.
That's awesome. Mr.
that's
yes.
right.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Jones, I've been doing this 5 years. This is the best curriculum meeting we've ever had.
Thank you.
And that shows your hard work. This data is extraordinarily helpful. I know it's hard to do, but your presentation just today was superb. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Yes, sir. Thank you, everyone. All right, may I have a motion to adjourn the curriculum meeting? Second.
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.